Well, good evening. I think we might be a minute or so early, maybe even 2 minutes early, but that's okay. I'm happy to be here. I am Leslie with Love, Ink, and Paper. And if this is your first visit, welcome to my Tuesday evening live. I try very hard to come live every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Time from my little corner of New Hampshire, which is where I live. If you are someone who's been here before or comes to the studio and stamps in person, welcome, welcome. I'm glad you're here. And if you're watching the replay, glad you're here for that too. So however you're finding me, I'm glad you're here. So I do have a host code for April, and it just helps me track how people are finding things and whatever. Do remember that we've now had about a week with the last chance list and the discounted prices, and things are selling out quickly. I didn't print the list. I probably should have, but I've been at school all day, and so anyway, I didn't. Let me move those. There's something underneath that I want to share with you in a minute, but these, all the little things, the April kit got billed and shipped today. So if you subscribe and get Paper Pumpkin, then yours should be on its way, hopefully within the next day or so. All right. If you don't subscribe yet, you probably are going to want to, because I put in a post earlier today, I forgot what it's called, and I don't think it tells me. Nope. Anyway, the May kit is going to be our new in color kit. It's going to have a new in color ink spot, and I think it's copper clay. I can't remember. But I did put a post in, and it has all the information there. So if you don't subscribe yet and you want to, please let me know. All right, so one other quick bit of news before we get going, because we are just after 7 now. I will be at the MAPS Counseling Service Wellness Festival on May 6th from 9 to 2. There's going to be all kinds of fun, healthy things for people to check out. Art is a way to keep your mind and self healthy by doing something creative, and that can be paper crafting like I do. It can be knitting or crocheting. It can be baking. I have a friend that is a fabulous baker, and that is another form of creativity. So anyway, I said tonight I was going to share a cool technique with you. I am, and it is called the split negative technique. Okay, so you stamp the same image in a colored ink on white, and in white, and emboss it on colored cardstock, and then you cut them and piece them back together, and so you get a really fun card. Now this one, I took my blender pen and I just went over the ink since it's so dark. Oops, and I'm noticing I missed a petal, so that's perfect. I can show you. I just went over the ink and just took some of that glaring white off of it. And I really like that look. All right. You don't have to do that. You can just leave it white. I've seen that happen. There's a couple of other things that I'll show you that you can do as well. All right. So how does that work? Well, here's another one that I did. I intentionally did the I didn't do it exactly halfway. I intentionally had the lower half on the blue, on the starry sky, and I will use markers to color the people, okay, and maybe even use my blending brushes to give the sky a little color. All right, and then I'll add a greeting on there with a punched thing. But this, I had to do this one. It's from the Beside Me stamp set, and it reminded me, it kind of looked like my dad and my little brother and me. I often wore braids when I was younger, and my dad loved to fish. Now, he didn't often take us to a dock where we could sit because he liked to go fishing at like 4 in the morning. But it did sort of remind me of my dad and us kids. So I will be adding some color. So you can do it that way as well. You know, you don't have to leave it white. And so I am going to add some color with my Stampin' Blend. So that's another way to do it. Now, Mom, if you're watching, don't tell Dad, but this is the image that I'm going to use on his Father's Day card. I remember getting our bikes at 5 years old. It was like the tradition. My grandparents started it with me, and then every grandkid got their first like 20-inch bike, their first sort of big kid bike from them. And I remember my dad running up and down our street, helping us balance and get it figured out. So that's the image that I'm going to use on my dad's card. So how do you go about doing this? Well, so here's the other 2 pieces. So the great thing is you get 2 cards. So this one, if you're going to do it sort of right side up, you get 2 sort of opposite ones. So if I want this flower on the top in both cards, this one goes this way. Now you'll notice it's not perfectly lined up. So what do you do? Well, here's what I did. I intentionally made these pieces that I was stamping on a full quarter sheet. A full quarter sheet. So 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. All right. So that I had room to trim them down. Okay. So that way you don't have to be perfect. Now, if you happen to have a stamp positioning tool, like the Stamparatus, you can have it be perfect, which is great. Then you don't have to trim it down. But then I also took some plain copy paper and put some adhesive on it, because lining them up and then getting them to stay where you want them to trim is a little tricky. Okay, so I'm gonna just put this like this and stick it down to that lightweight copy paper, because nobody's going to know it's back there. Okay, so once you've got it down there, then you just find the place where it lines up and you just push it into place. So now it's stuck to that little piece of copy paper. Now you can trim it. Now you can arrange it however you want, and trim it to the size you want to put on your card front. Okay? All right, so that's that. So how do you cut it? Well, here's 2 that I did with, so let me tell you, this one came from Blessings of Home. It was this big floral image here. I just stamped it that way. That's a retiring set. I'm not sure if it's still available. And I also did the coneflower from Nature's Harvest, which is also retiring. Okay, so I thought we'd do some retiring stamps and new colors. So this particular color is our new pecan pie. I don't happen to have any soft suede to compare it to. right here. But I'm going to do a whole video of color comparison, okay? So just to let you know. All right, so I already stamped this in Pecan Pie on the basic white, and then I stamped it in white craft ink, okay? And then embossed it with white embossing powder on the Pecan Pie. So let's do that, okay? Because we're going to need these pieces in a second. I just want to show you. Oh, seriously? Oh, man. 1, 2, 3. I should have one more. Unless I used it. I don't see that I used it. Hang on, you guys. That's not what I want. That's not what I want. Oh, goodness, you guys. Every week I think I'm right there and I'm all set, and then something goes haywire. All right, well, I guess I don't. We'll use this piece. It's got something else on the back, but I didn't love that anyway. So we'll just do this. All right, so first things first, we'll use this. Sorry for the delay. Let's just get that inked up, okay? And then I just kind of pick sort of the middle. Yeah, I see the smudge, you guys. I see it. There's no mistakes. We're just gonna, we'll put something on top of that. Or I won't use that section. I have that choice. I don't have to use that side. Okay, so then I'm going to clean this stamp really well. Okay. There. Alrighty. Set that aside. We'll bring in this one. We'll bring in my white. We'll bring in my embossing buddy. Okay, we'll dust that a little bit. Now I'm not going to actually do the embossing. I intentionally left the heat tool on the other side of the room because it is, I think, too loud, and I don't know how to make it quieter. I know there are some people that can edit these things and make it, I don't know how to do that yet. The power of yet. I'm working through some of these things. All right. So we've got our nice white here. So we're going to just sort of aim for the middle. But again, if you don't make it perfect, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't. Okay. So let's just give that a second to go on there. All right. So now we're going to close that. Put that aside. We're going to put that aside because I actually don't like to use my chamois on the white ink. It gets kind of messy on the chamois, so I take it straight to the sink and give it a little rinse. Okay, so then we're just gonna. All right. Now most people do not have a, well, some demonstrators do. You don't have to have this much. There's lots of ways to do this. I just find, since I use white a lot, it's just easier to have it in this and use my spoon. All right, so I'm going to put that over there. So now I'm just going to set this aside and try not to knock into it because I need to emboss it after. Okay. All right, so now we're back to our pieces. Okay. I know magically that smudge is gone. Just gone. All right, let's grab my trimmer. Okay. And let's see, we have done, I showed you a horizontal. I showed you a diagonal. So let's do a vertical. Okay, so that's going to be our cardstock is 4 1/4, so I need to cut it at 2 1/8. But let me just see what that looks like, because I may or may, no, that's good. That's pretty much right down the middle. Okay, so now we have those, and 2 1/8. There we go. All right, that can go over there. We'll have this, and we will just, so I just cut these into like 3 by 3 squares, but you don't even have to be that precise about it. I've got embossing powder. All right, so we want these two and these two. All right, I find it easier to line up against the, and for some reason it's easier to go this way. Not sure why, but it is. Okay, so now that should be pretty straight. And then I'm just going to try to get that matched up. Looks pretty good. So you just find a place where you can make it match up. And so now that's on my little piece of paper on the back. Okay, now I can trim it down. And I think I want to go to 3 3/4 by 5. I like that size the best. So what I'm going to do is I want I'm going to take a full 1/2 inch. So I'm going to take 1/4 inch off the top, like that. Okay, and then we're going to turn it, and we're going to make this end 5, like that. Okay. All right, and so then this way we want it 3 3/4, which is, again, 1/2 inch. So I'm going to take 1/4 inch off each side. Okay, I'm going to take 1/4 inch off here, and 1/4 inch off here. Nope, gotta go smaller. There we go. There's my 1/4 inch, 3 3/4. Okay. So now I can put, I probably need some thank you cards. Who doesn't always need a thank you card, right? All right. Guess we'll use this block. Wait a minute. Yeah, it doesn't matter. I'm going to take this off anyway. Okay. And I've talked to you about why I go at an angle. That was a Rachel Tessman trick I learned, which I love. It just helps your eyes not get fooled by the edge of the block thinking things are straight. It makes you really concentrate on making sure your stamp is straight. Okay. Yeah, pretty good. A little downhill. It's handmade. No mistakes. We got this. Okay. So let me clean that off. And put that away, because I'm going to use this to show you something else you can do. So I brought over, so you can color one side, you can color both sides. I'm going to do both sides this time. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little dot of our white re-inker. You don't need much, I promise. You really don't. And then I'm going to take our small water painter. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and drop a couple of drops of water. Whoa. And I'm going to just make a milky white paint there. Okay. And then I'm just going to come over here and let that sit right in there. Go into the paper. And I love this kind of white on white look. It's really pretty. Okay. So we'll just add that right like that. I'm going to do a little in here. I think I got this a little wet. I didn't mean to put quite that many. I want the white a little stronger. Okay, that's better. I'm going to use this side of the puddle because that's a little stronger. Okay. Oh yeah. And you'll see it's just kind of soaking into the brown. That pecan pie. Don't you just love the names? I just think they're so fun. There's quite a, like there's rules about the color names. They have to be, they have to start with the same, they have to be, use alliteration. So starting with the same letter sound, okay? And they can only be a certain number of characters so that they will fit on the labels in all our languages. Isn't that funny? Anyway, it must be kind of a fun job to have to name these colors. I think that would be kind of a cool job. So you can do the white on the dark side, like that. Then I'm going to just over in the corner clean that off. Okay, and I can clean it off here too. See how it got kind of dirty? So I just want to make sure it runs clean. So I'll just have to do a little more cleaning on that. I'll take it to the sink and make sure it's nice and clean. Then we can use the blender pen and just move a little of the ink that's already in there. Now that I'm not going to get a super dark brown color, but I am going to be able to move that ink a little bit and just fill in the white spaces a little bit so that it's not quite as white. This one gives you that pretty sepia color, like the old-timey photographs that were brown and white, that sepia tone. So anyway, so you can do it this way. You can just leave them. You can add color like I'm planning to do with that one with the people. I just didn't want to bring all the markers over tonight. Plus you guys don't really want to watch me sit in color. I know you don't, because that is boring. You would probably rather get to your craft space and try this. And I hope you do. And when you do, please share. I love when you guys put your creations in the comments. It makes me happy. I love it, love it, love it. All right, just these last two petals here. There. Perfect. I love that. I actually really do. Love that card. Luckily, I get to make another one this way. Isn't that fun? So every time you do this, you get to make 2 cards. All right, which is really fun. I don't think I brought a base. I think I might want that on a crumb cake base. I think that would look really pretty. So anyway, that is, hey, I even finished a little bit early tonight. I think I did pretty darn good. All right. Hi, Kathy. I'm so glad you're here. I know things, it's getting nicer out. Tonight was one of the first really, really nice days where it stayed warm later. So lots of you may be choosing to enjoy that extra sunlight, the extra warmth, and catching us on the replay later on, which is totally fine. All right, so I will post this when I get home. I will post it over on my YouTube channel. So if you don't find it here, you can find it there. And yeah, I hope to see some creations, and I hope this was a fun technique. So I'm really excited about this. I'm looking forward to coloring that one. But so those were the ones we did tonight. Okay, so if you need to know more about heat embossing, let me know. I would be happy to share that with you if you don't already know that. There are a few specialized products that you need to have, and one is a heat tool. Ours is great because it has 2 speeds, so you can sort of dry something slowly on a really low speed, or you can emboss on the higher speed, which gets the heat tool hotter. I will tell you, because I tried it way back when, a blow dryer does not get hot enough. If the blow dryer got hot enough, it would burn your scalp. So just FYI, okay? So anyway, enjoy, show me what you make, and I will finish a couple of these and put the pictures on in the comments, because I think that's the only way it lets me do that. I don't think it lets me go back and add pictures to a video, if that makes sense. So anyway, the pictures will be in the comments. All right. All right. Talk to you soon. Bye, guys.